There comes a moment in life when everything breaks at once. Plans fail, people leave. The future you imagined disappears. In that moment, it feels like the ground beneath you is gone. You question your choices. You question your strength. You even question your worth. It feels like you are starting from nothing, from zero. But what if this is not the end? What if this is the beginning? Not a comfortable beginning, not an easy one, but a real one. This audiobook is for those moments, the quiet nights, the heavy thoughts, the feeling that life has fallen apart. Here you will not find empty motivation. You will find truth. Step by step, you will learn how to rebuild yourself, not into who you were, but into someone stronger. If you want to walk this journey with me, subscribe to this channel now. More chapters are coming, and each one will guide you step by step. You are not finished. You are starting again. Chapter 1. The moment everything breaks. There is a moment when everything changes. It does not always come with warning. Sometimes it arrives quietly. Sometimes it hits all at once. One day life feels stable. The next day it feels unfamiliar. Plans you trusted begin to fall apart. People you relied on step away. Things you believed in start to fade. In that moment, confusion takes over. You try to understand what went wrong. You replay events in your mind. You search for answers that do not come easily. This is where many people feel lost. It is not just the loss that hurts. It is the sudden emptiness. The routine breaks. The direction disappears. The sense of control slips away. You wake up and things feel different. Even simple tasks feel heavier. Your mind becomes louder. Thoughts repeat. Questions stay unanswered. Why did this happen? What could I have done differently? What do I do now? These questions feel endless. In this phase, emotions come in waves. Some moments feel calm, others feel overwhelming. You may feel sadness. You may feel anger. You may feel numb. All of this is normal. When everything falls apart, your mind tries to make sense of chaos. But chaos does not always have clear answers. Trying to force answers too quickly creates more pressure. You do not need to understand everything right now. You only need to stay present. The moment everything breaks is not just an external event, it is also internal. Your identity begins to shake. You start questioning who you are without what you lost. If your plans defined you, you feel empty without them. If people defined your sense of self, you feel disconnected without them. This feeling can be unsettling. You may feel like you are losing yourself. But what is actually happening is something deeper. Old structures are breaking. Structures you built your life around. These structures gave you comfort. They gave you direction. Now that they are gone, you are standing in open space. Open space feels uncomfortable. It feels uncertain, but it is also where rebuilding begins. Right now, it may not feel like an opportunity. It feels like loss, and that is okay. You do not need to force a positive meaning. You are allowed to feel what you feel. Many people try to escape this stage. They distract themselves. They rush into new plans. They try to replace what they lost immediately. This often delays real healing, because rebuilding is not about replacing. It is about understanding. Understanding what happened. Understanding what mattered. Understanding what you need moving forward. This takes time. There is no quick fix for a broken foundation. You must first see the break clearly. This requires honesty. Honesty with yourself. Not harsh judgment. Not blame. Just honest observation. What changed? What ended? What no longer fits? When you allow yourself to see reality as it is, something shifts. Clarity begins. Clarity does not remove pain, but it reduces confusion, and confusion is often more exhausting than pain. Pain is direct. Confusion is endless. Clarity brings you back to the present. In the present, you can begin small. Right now, you do not need a full plan. You do not need to fix everything. You only need to take care of yourself in simple ways. Breathe slowly. Rest when needed. Eat regularly. Move your body gently. These actions may feel small, but they stabilize you. Stability is the first step in rebuilding. Without stability, everything feels chaotic. Another important idea is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean you agree with what happened. It does not mean you like it. It means you acknowledge it. This happened. Fighting reality creates resistance. Resistance increases suffering. Acceptance reduces that resistance. It allows you to move forward. Forward does not mean fast. It means gradual, one step at a time. Another challenge in this stage is comparison. You may look at others and feel behind. You may think others have their life together. This thought increases pain. Everyone faces moments of breaking. Some show it, some hide it. Your journey is your own. You are not late. You are in transition. Transition feels unstable, but it is part of growth. Another important idea is letting go of control. When things fall apart, control disappears. Trying to control everything again creates stress. Instead, focus on what you can influence: your actions, your reactions, your pace. This small control builds confidence again. Confidence does not return all at once. It returns slowly, through small actions, through showing up each day, even when you do not feel strong. Strength is not about feeling ready. It is about continuing anyway. In this stage, you may feel alone, even if people are around you, because what you are experiencing feels personal. It feels deep. It feels hard to explain. This feeling of isolation is common, but you are not alone in this experience. Many people have stood where you are now. They felt lost, they felt broken, and they rebuilt. Not quickly, not perfectly, but steadily. Another important idea is patience. You cannot rush rebuilding. Trying to rush creates frustration. Frustration leads to burnout. Allow yourself time. Time to process. Time to adjust. Time to heal. Healing is not linear. Some days feel better. Some days feel worse. This does not mean you are going backward. It means you are moving through it. Movement is not always smooth, but it is still movement. Another challenge is self-doubt. When everything falls apart, you may doubt your decisions. You may question your abilities. You may feel like you failed. These thoughts are heavy, but they are not final truths. They are reactions to loss. Loss shakes confidence. Confidence can be rebuilt. It starts with small trust. Trust in simple actions. You woke up today. You are here. You are trying. That matters. Another important idea is meaning. Right now, things may feel meaningless. That is part of the process. Meaning is not found immediately after loss. It develops over time. As you rebuild, meaning returns. It returns in new forms. Forms you may not see yet. This uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it is also where possibility lives. If everything stayed the same, nothing new could grow. Change creates space. Space allows new direction. You do not need to know that direction today. You only need to stay open to it. Another helpful idea is reducing pressure. You do not need to be strong all the time. You do not need to have answers. You do not need to move fast. Remove these expectations. They add weight. Without them, you can breathe easier. Breathing matters. It brings you back to your body. Your body holds you when your mind feels unstable. Another important idea is awareness of thoughts. Your mind may create worst-case scenarios. It may predict negative outcomes. This is fear speaking. Fear tries to protect you, but it often exaggerates. You do not need to believe every thought. You can observe them. Observation creates distance. Distance reduces intensity. Another challenge is holding on to the past. You may wish things were different. You may replay better versions of events. This keeps you stuck. The past cannot be changed, but your response to it can. Focus on now. Now is where rebuilding begins. Another important idea is support. You do not have to do everything alone. If someone is safe to talk to, talk. If not, write your thoughts. Expressing helps release pressure. Pressure builds when everything stays inside. Another helpful idea is routine. Simple routines create stability. Wake up at a similar time. Eat regularly. Rest properly. Routine gives structure when life feels unstructured. Structure supports calm. Calm supports clarity. Clarity supports action. Everything connects. Another challenge is identity shift. You are not the same person you were before things broke. This can feel uncomfortable, but it is also growth. You are evolving. Evolution takes time. You are allowed to change. Another important idea is self-compassion. Treat yourself gently. You are going through something difficult. Harshness will not help. Kindness will. Kindness does not make you weak. It makes you stable. Stability supports rebuilding. Another truth is that this moment will not last forever. It feels endless now, but it will pass. Everything changes. Even this. You are in the middle of a chapter, not the end of your story. The moment everything breaks is painful, but it also marks a beginning that you may not have chosen, but one that you can shape. Right now, you do not need to rebuild everything. You only need to stand, breathe, stay present, take one step, then another. This is how rebuilding starts. Not with a perfect plan, but with a decision, a quiet decision to continue. Even when things feel broken, even when nothing feels certain, you are still here, and that means something is still possible. Chapter 2. Sitting with the pain instead of escaping it. When everything falls apart, the first instinct is to escape. You want relief. You want silence inside your mind. You want the weight to disappear. This instinct is natural. Pain feels heavy. It feels uncomfortable. It feels endless. So you look for ways to avoid it. You distract yourself. You stay busy. You scroll. You watch. You fill your time with noise. For a moment, it works. The pain feels distant. The thoughts slow down. You feel a small sense of control. But when the distraction ends, the pain returns. Sometimes it returns stronger. This creates a cycle. Escape, relief, return, more pain. Over time, this cycle becomes exhausting. You are not just dealing with pain, you are also dealing with the effort to avoid it. This is where many people get stuck. They believe avoiding pain will help them heal. But avoidance delays healing. Healing begins when you turn toward what you feel. This does not mean you force yourself into suffering. It means you allow your experience without running from it. Sitting with pain sounds difficult, and it is. But it is also powerful. When you stop escaping, something changes. The pain stops chasing you. You begin to understand it. Understanding reduces fear. Fear makes pain feel bigger than it is. When fear softens, pain becomes clearer. It is still there, but it is not overwhelming in the same way. Many people fear that if they face their pain, it will consume them. This fear is strong, but pain, when allowed, moves. It rises, it falls, it changes. It does not stay at the same intensity forever. When you sit with it, you begin to notice this movement. You notice that emotions come in waves. A wave rises, then it settles, then another wave comes. This rhythm is natural. When you resist the wave, it feels stronger. When you allow it, it passes more gently. This is the beginning of emotional resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It is about staying with it without breaking. Another important idea is naming what you feel. Many people feel overwhelmed because their emotions are unclear. Everything blends together. It feels like one heavy weight. When you name your emotions, you create space. You may feel sadness. You may feel anger. You may feel fear. Each emotion has its own texture. Naming separates them. Separation makes them easier to handle. You can say to yourself, "I feel sad right now." This simple statement brings clarity. Clarity reduces confusion. Confusion often increases suffering. Another challenge is judging your emotions. You may think you should not feel this way. You may think you should be stronger. This judgment adds pressure. Pressure makes pain heavier. Instead of judging, allow yourself to feel without labeling it as good or bad. Feelings are signals. They are not failures. They tell you that something mattered. Another important idea is giving yourself permission. Permission to feel. Permission to pause. Permission to not be okay. Without permission, you create resistance. Resistance builds tension. Tension makes everything harder. Permission softens the experience. Softness allows healing. Another challenge is time. People want pain to go away quickly. They become frustrated when it stays. Healing does not follow a strict timeline. It unfolds. Some days you feel lighter. Some days you feel heavy again. This does not mean you are failing. It means you are processing. Processing takes time. Another helpful idea is creating safe space. You do not need to face pain everywhere. Find a moment. Find a place. Sit quietly. Let your thoughts come. Let your emotions rise. You do not need to fix anything in that moment. You only need to be present. Presence changes your relationship with pain. Pain feels less like an enemy, more like a message. Another important idea is breathing. When pain rises, your breathing changes. It becomes shallow. It becomes fast. This signals danger to your body. You can change this. Slow your breath. Inhale gently. Exhale slowly. This calms your system. A calm body supports a calm mind. Another challenge is overthinking. When pain appears, the mind tries to solve it. It asks questions. It creates stories. This can make things worse. Not every feeling needs an explanation. Sometimes you need to feel first. Understanding can come later. Feeling is the first step. Another important idea is letting emotions move through the body. Emotions are not just in your mind. They exist in your body. You may feel tightness in your chest, heaviness in your shoulders, a knot in your stomach. Notice these sensations. Do not push them away. Stay with them. They will shift. Movement in the body helps release emotion. Walking slowly, stretching gently. These simple actions support emotional flow. Another challenge is fear of losing control. You may worry that if you feel too much, you will break. But feeling does not break you. Suppressing for too long creates pressure. Pressure leads to breakdown. Allowing emotions prevents that buildup. Another helpful idea is journaling. Writing your thoughts creates space. You can express without interruption. You can see your thoughts clearly. Clarity reduces overwhelm. Another important idea is limiting distractions during this process. Constant noise blocks awareness. Awareness is needed for healing. You do not need to remove all distractions, but give yourself moments of quiet. Quiet allows connection with yourself. Another challenge is comparing your healing to others. Everyone processes pain differently. There is no correct pace. There is no perfect way. Your process is valid. Trust it. Another important idea is self-compassion. Speak to yourself kindly. You are going through something difficult. You deserve understanding. Harsh words will not help. Kindness will. Kindness creates safety. Safety allows healing. Another helpful idea is recognizing progress. Progress in this stage is not visible from the outside. It is internal. You may notice that emotions feel clearer. You may notice you can sit with discomfort longer. These are signs of growth. Acknowledge them. Acknowledgement builds strength. Another challenge is wanting to skip this stage. You may want to move forward quickly. You may want to rebuild immediately, but without processing pain, rebuilding becomes unstable. You may carry unresolved emotions into new situations. This creates new problems. Sitting with pain creates a strong foundation. Foundation matters. Everything you build later depends on it. Another important idea is acceptance of imperfection. You will not handle this perfectly. Some days you will avoid. Some days you will feel overwhelmed. That is part of the process. Do not judge yourself for it. Return gently. Each return builds resilience. Another helpful idea is support. If possible, share with someone you trust. Speaking reduces isolation. If that is not possible, continue with self-expression. You are still processing. Another important idea is patience with your mind. Your mind may resist. It may push you to escape. This is normal. Do not fight your mind. Guide it gently. Return to the present. Another challenge is holding on to control of emotions. You may try to control how you feel. This creates tension. Let emotions come. Let them go. Control is not needed here. Flow is. Another important idea is trust in the process. Healing is happening even when you do not see it. Each moment of awareness matters. Each moment of presence counts. Another helpful idea is grounding in reality. Look around you. Notice your environment. This brings you back from overwhelming thoughts. Grounding reduces intensity. Another important idea is that pain carries information. It shows what mattered. It shows what hurt. It shows what needs attention. Listening to it gives you direction. Direction supports rebuilding. Another challenge is fear that pain will never end. This fear feels real, but pain changes. It always does. Nothing stays at the same intensity forever. Trust this. Another helpful idea is small acts of care. Drink water, rest, take breaks. These actions support your body. Your body supports your mind. Another important idea is that you are not broken. You are experiencing pain. There is a difference. Pain is part of life. It does not define your worth. Another challenge is impatience with yourself. You may want to be over it. Let go of that expectation. Healing is not a race. It is a process. Another important idea is allowing space for hope, not forced hope. Quiet hope, the possibility that things can improve. You do not need to believe it fully. Just allow the idea. That is enough for now. Sitting with pain is not easy, but it is necessary. It teaches you strength. It teaches you awareness. It teaches you patience. These are the same qualities you will need to rebuild. This stage prepares you, even when it feels slow, even when it feels heavy. You are doing something important. You are facing what most people avoid. And in that, you are already becoming stronger. Stay with it. Breathe, feel, allow. This is how healing begins. Chapter 3. Letting go of what you can no longer control. When everything falls apart, one feeling becomes very strong. The need to control what is happening. You want to fix things quickly. You want to reverse what was lost. You want things to go back to how they were. This desire feels natural. Control gives comfort. It creates a sense of safety. It makes life feel predictable. But in moments of collapse, control becomes limited. The more you try to control everything, the more frustrated you feel, because some things are already out of your hands. This is where many people suffer the most, not because of what happened, but because of the struggle to change what cannot be changed. Letting go is not easy. It feels like giving up. It feels like losing, but letting go is not weakness. It is clarity. It is understanding the difference between what you can change and what you cannot. This difference changes everything. Right now, there are things you cannot control. You cannot control the past. You cannot control other people's decisions. You cannot control how things ended. Holding on to these things creates tension. Your mind keeps returning to them. It tries to solve what is already done. This creates exhaustion. Letting go begins with awareness. You notice where your energy is going. You notice what thoughts repeat. You notice what you keep trying to fix. Then you ask yourself a simple question. Is this in my control right now? If the answer is no, something shifts. You begin to release it. Releasing does not mean you forget. It means you stop trying to control it. This reduces pressure. Pressure often comes from holding too tightly. Tightness creates pain. Loosening reduces it. Another important idea is acceptance. Acceptance and letting go are connected. You cannot let go of what you do not accept. Acceptance means you see reality as it is. This happened. It may not be what you wanted. It may not feel fair, but it is real. Fighting reality creates resistance. Resistance keeps you stuck. Acceptance opens movement. Movement allows change. Another challenge is emotional attachment. You may feel attached to how things used to be. You may replay better versions of the past. This creates longing. Longing keeps you connected to what is gone. Letting go does not erase memories. It changes your relationship with them. You can remember without holding on. You can acknowledge without returning. This takes practice. Another important idea is control over your thoughts. You cannot stop thoughts from appearing, but you can choose how long you stay with them. Some thoughts pull you into the past. Some thoughts pull you into fear. Notice them. Do not follow every thought. Observation creates distance. Distance reduces intensity. Another challenge is fear of the unknown. When you let go of control, uncertainty appears. Uncertainty feels uncomfortable. You may feel like you are standing in empty space. No clear direction. No clear outcome. This feeling is part of the process. Growth often begins in uncertainty. If everything was clear, nothing new would develop. Uncertainty creates possibility. Possibility allows change. Another important idea is focusing on what you can control. Your actions, your effort, your mindset. These are within your reach. When you shift your attention here, energy returns. You feel less stuck. You begin to move again. Movement builds confidence. Confidence reduces fear. Another challenge is the habit of control. Some people are used to managing everything. They feel responsible for outcomes. Letting go feels unnatural. It feels like losing structure. But control is not always real. Many outcomes were never fully in your hands. Recognizing this brings relief. Relief reduces pressure. Another important idea is emotional release. Holding on to control also means holding on to emotion. Tension builds. Releasing control allows emotion to move. This creates lightness. Lightness supports healing. Another challenge is believing that letting go means you will not care anymore. This is not true. You can care deeply and still let go. Caring does not require control. Caring can exist with acceptance. This is a more balanced state. Another helpful idea is practicing letting go in small ways. You do not need to release everything at once. Start with one thought, one situation. Notice when you are trying to control it. Then gently release. Return your focus to the present. Small practice builds skill. Skill builds confidence. Another important idea is patience. Letting go is not instant. Some things take time to release. That is okay. Return again and again. Each time you let go, even slightly, you reduce weight. Weight reduction creates space. Space allows rebuilding. Another challenge is identity. You may have built your identity around what you lost. Letting go feels like losing part of yourself. But identity is not fixed. You are more than one role, more than one outcome. Letting go allows new identity to form. Formation takes time. Time requires patience. Another important idea is trust. Trust that life continues. Trust that new paths can appear. You may not see them yet. That is normal. Trust does not require full belief. It requires openness. Openness creates movement. Another challenge is returning thoughts. Even after letting go, thoughts come back. This is normal. Letting go is not a one-time action. It is a repeated practice. Each time thoughts return, you release again. Over time, they lose strength. Another helpful idea is grounding. When thoughts pull you away, return to your body. Notice your breath. Notice your surroundings. This brings you back to now. Now is where control exists. Another important idea is energy. Your energy is limited. Where you place it matters. If you place it on things you cannot change, you feel drained. If you place it on what you can do, you feel stronger. Energy direction shapes experience. Another challenge is regret. You may think about what you could have done differently. Regret is common, but staying in regret keeps you in the past. You can learn from it, then release it. Learning moves you forward. Holding regret keeps you still. Another important idea is forgiveness. Sometimes you need to forgive others. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not approval. It is release. It frees you from carrying weight. Weight reduction supports growth. Another challenge is control over outcomes. You may want to know what will happen next. Life does not always give clear answers. Trying to force certainty creates stress. Accepting uncertainty creates calm. Calm supports clarity. Another helpful idea is focusing on process instead of outcome. You cannot control results. You can control effort. Effort builds progress. Progress builds confidence. Another important idea is flexibility. Life changes. Your plans may change. Flexibility allows adaptation. Rigid control breaks under pressure. Flexible thinking survives. Another challenge is emotional attachment to control. Control can feel like safety. Letting go feels like risk. But holding on to control in uncertain situations creates more risk. Release creates flow. Flow supports movement. Another important idea is presence. Letting go brings you into the present. The present is manageable. The past is not changeable. The future is not fully predictable. The present is where action exists. Another helpful idea is awareness of patterns. Notice when you try to control. Notice what triggers it. Awareness gives you choice. Choice supports confidence. Another important idea is lightness. Letting go makes you lighter. You carry less mental weight. Lightness allows movement. Movement allows rebuilding. Another challenge is fear of losing meaning. You may feel that what you lost gave your life purpose. Letting go creates emptiness. This emptiness is temporary. New meaning can grow. Growth needs space. Space comes from letting go. Another important idea is self-trust. Trust that you can handle uncertainty. Trust that you can adapt. Trust builds through action. Another helpful idea is breathing through discomfort. When letting go feels hard, breathe. Breath anchors you. Anchoring reduces fear. Another important idea is that letting go is not the end. It is a transition. It creates space for something new. New paths, new identity, new direction. You may not see them yet, but they are possible. Another challenge is holding on to control out of habit. Habits take time to change. Be patient. Practice gently. Each release matters. Another important idea is freedom. Control can feel like safety, but it can also be a cage. Letting go opens that cage. Freedom may feel uncomfortable at first, but it allows growth. Growth builds strength. Strength supports rebuilding. Another helpful idea is remembering that you have already survived change. You are here. That means you adapted before. You can adapt again. Another important idea is balance. Letting go of what you cannot control. Taking action on what you can. This balance creates stability. Stability supports confidence. Another challenge is overthinking control. Thinking does not always create solutions. Sometimes it creates loops. Loops create stress. Breaking loops requires action. Simple action. Small steps. Another important idea is moving forward without full clarity. You do not need all answers. You need direction. Direction can be small. One step is enough. Another helpful idea is acceptance of process. Letting go is part of rebuilding. You cannot build while holding on to the past. Release creates space. Space allows structure. Structure supports growth. Another important idea is trust in time. Time changes perspective. What feels heavy now may feel lighter later. Trust this process. Another challenge is wanting certainty. Certainty is limited. Acceptance of uncertainty creates calm. Calm supports clear thinking. Clear thinking supports action. Another important idea is presence again. Return to now. This moment is where you live, not in what was, not in what might be. Now, letting go brings you here. Here is where rebuilding begins. Not in control of everything, but in acceptance, in awareness, in small steps forward. You do not need to hold on to everything. You only need to hold on to what matters now, and slowly, gently, release the rest. Chapter 4. Rebuilding your identity from the inside. When everything falls apart, something deeper is affected. Not just your plans, not just your relationships, your identity. You begin to ask questions you never asked before. Who am I without this? Who am I now? These questions can feel uncomfortable. Before things broke, your identity may have felt clear. You knew your role. You knew your direction. Now that those things are gone, your sense of self feels uncertain. This uncertainty can feel like emptiness, but this emptiness is not the end. It is space where something new can grow. Rebuilding your identity does not happen from the outside. It does not begin with achievements. It does not begin with approval. It begins inside. It begins with awareness. You start by noticing how you see yourself. What do you believe about who you are now? Many people carry negative beliefs after loss. They think they failed. They think they are not enough. They think they are behind. These beliefs feel real, but they are not facts. They are interpretations. Interpretations shaped by emotion. Emotion can distort reality. Awareness helps you separate truth from reaction. You can observe your thoughts without accepting all of them. This creates space. In that space, you can rebuild. Another important idea is understanding that identity is not fixed. It is not something you are born with and keep forever. It evolves. It changes with experience. The version of you before things broke is not the final version. You are still becoming. This understanding reduces fear. You are not lost. You are in transition. Transition feels unstable, but it is also where growth happens. Another challenge is attachment to your old identity. You may want to go back to how you felt, back to how life was. This desire is natural, but going back is not possible. life moves forward. Holding on to the past identity creates tension. Letting go allows transformation. Transformation does not erase who you were. It builds on it. You carry lessons, you carry experience, but you are not limited by them. Another important idea is defining yourself by values instead of roles. Roles can change, jobs end, relationships shift, situations evolve, but values remain. Values are how you live, how you treat others, how you respond to life. When you build identity around values, it becomes stable. Even when circumstances change, ask yourself simple questions. What matters to me now? What kind of person do I want to be? Not what you want to have, but how you want to live. This shift is powerful. It moves identity from external to internal. Internal identity is stronger. It does not depend on outcomes. Another challenge is comparing your current self to your past self. You may feel like you have lost something. You may feel weaker. This comparison creates frustration. You are not meant to be the same person. You are meant to grow. Growth includes change. Change includes discomfort. Discomfort is not failure. It is movement. Another important idea is accepting the current version of yourself. Right now, you may feel tired. You may feel uncertain. You may feel different. Accept this version. Do not reject it. Rejection creates resistance. Acceptance creates stability. From stability, growth becomes possible. Another helpful idea is small identity shifts. You do not need to rebuild everything at once. Start with small actions. Act in ways that reflect who you want to become, even if it feels small. If you want to be calm, take a slow breath before reacting. If you want to be disciplined, complete one simple task. These actions may seem small, but they shape identity. Identity is built through repeated behavior. What you do consistently becomes who you are. Another important idea is self-trust. When things fall apart, trust in yourself may weaken. You may doubt your decisions. Rebuilding identity includes rebuilding trust. Trust grows through action. Keep small promises to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Each small promise builds trust. Trust strengthens identity. Another challenge is external validation. You may look for approval to feel worthy, but approval is unstable. It changes with people. It changes with situations. If your identity depends on it, you will feel unstable. Internal validation is stronger. It comes from living in alignment with your values. When you act in alignment, you feel grounded. Grounded identity feels confident. Another important idea is letting go of labels. Labels limit you. You may have called yourself shy, or weak, or unsuccessful. These labels feel fixed, but they are not. They are descriptions of past behavior, not definitions of your future. You can act differently. You can grow beyond labels. Another helpful idea is creating space for new experiences. Identity grows through experience. Try new things, small things, different routines, new habits. These experiences expand your sense of self. Expansion reduces limitation. Another important idea is patience. Identity does not rebuild overnight. It forms slowly, through repeated action, through consistent effort. Allow this process. Do not rush it. Another challenge is fear of becoming someone new. Change can feel uncomfortable. You may not recognize yourself at first. This is part of growth. You are expanding. Expansion feels unfamiliar, but unfamiliar does not mean wrong. Another important idea is self-compassion. Be kind to yourself during this process. You are rebuilding. That takes energy. Harshness will slow you down. Kindness will support you. Another helpful idea is reflection. Take time to notice changes. Notice small improvements. Notice new habits. This reinforces identity. Reinforcement builds confidence. Another important idea is aligning actions with intentions. You may know who you want to be. Now act on it, even in small ways. Consistency matters more than intensity. Another challenge is setbacks. You may fall into old patterns. This does not erase progress. Return gently. Each return strengthens identity. Another important idea is environment. Your surroundings influence your identity. Choose environments that support growth. Even small changes help. A clean space, a calm routine. These support clarity. Another helpful idea is reducing noise. Too much input creates confusion. Limit what you consume. Focus on what supports your growth. Clarity supports identity. Another important idea is ownership. Take responsibility for your growth. You cannot control everything, but you can control your direction. Direction builds identity. Another challenge is fear of judgment. Others may notice your change. They may question it. This is normal. Do not let it stop you. Your growth is yours. Another important idea is purpose. Identity connects to purpose. Purpose does not need to be big. It can be simple. To grow, to learn, to become better. Purpose gives direction. Direction builds identity. Another helpful idea is staying present. Identity is built now, not in the past, not in the future. What you do today matters. Another important idea is resilience. You are rebuilding after difficulty. That itself shows strength. Acknowledge it. Acknowledgement builds confidence. Another challenge is impatience. You may want quick results. Identity takes time. Trust the process. Another important idea is flexibility. You do not need a perfect plan. You need movement. Movement shapes identity. Another helpful idea is consistency. Show up daily, even when it feels small. Consistency builds identity. Another important idea is belief. You do not need full belief. You need willingness. Willingness to try. Trying builds evidence. Evidence builds belief. Another challenge is doubt. Doubt will appear. Do not fight it. Move with it. Action reduces doubt. Another important idea is growth mindset. You are not fixed. You are learning. Learning shapes identity. Another helpful idea is gratitude. Be grateful for the chance to rebuild, not because it is easy, but because it is possible. Another important idea is staying grounded. Return to your breath. Return to your body. Grounding supports clarity. Another challenge is fear of failure. You may fear rebuilding incorrectly. There is no perfect way. There is only progress. Another important idea is trusting yourself. You are capable of change. You are capable of growth. Trust grows with action. Another helpful idea is letting identity emerge. You do not need to force it. Act consistently. Identity will form naturally. Another important idea is balance. Change while staying true to your values. Balance creates stability. Another challenge is holding on to old patterns. Patterns take time to change. Be patient. Practice new ones. Another important idea is awareness of progress. You are not where you were. You are moving forward, even if slowly. Another helpful idea is self-respect. Treat yourself with respect. Respect builds identity. Another important idea is commitment. Commit to your growth, even when it feels hard. Commitment builds strength. Another challenge is external noise. Ignore unnecessary opinions. Focus on your path. Another important idea is authenticity. Be real. Do not pretend. Authenticity builds trust. Trust builds confidence. Another helpful idea is learning from experience. Each step teaches you. Learning builds identity. Another important idea is becoming. You are becoming someone new, not all at once, step by step, through awareness, through action, through patience. Your identity is not broken. It is being rebuilt from the inside, stronger, clearer, more aligned, and this time it will be yours. Chapter 5. Building strength through small daily actions. After everything falls apart, it is easy to feel stuck. You may wait for motivation. You may wait to feel ready. But waiting often leads to more stillness. Rebuilding does not begin with big actions. It begins with small ones. Small actions may seem simple, but they carry power. They create movement, and movement changes everything. When life feels broken, your mind may feel overwhelmed. Too many thoughts, too many questions. Big plans feel heavy. Small actions reduce that weight. They bring focus to one step. One step is manageable. Manageable steps build consistency. Consistency builds strength. Strength builds confidence. This is how rebuilding starts. Not with a sudden transformation, but with quiet, repeated effort. Another important idea is starting before you feel ready. Many people wait for the right feeling. They wait for energy. They wait for clarity. But action often creates those things. When you act, even in a small way, something shifts. Your body moves. Your mind follows. This creates momentum. Momentum makes the next step easier. Another challenge is thinking that small actions do not matter. You may believe they are too small to change anything, but small actions compound. They add up over time. A single action may feel insignificant, but repeated actions create results. This is how habits form. Habits shape your life. Another important idea is keeping actions simple. Do not overload yourself. Choose one or two things. Focus on them. Complete them. Completion builds confidence. Confidence encourages more action. This cycle supports growth. Another helpful idea is creating a daily structure. Structure provides stability. Even a simple routine helps. Wake up at a consistent time. Eat regularly. Set one task for the day. This creates rhythm. Rhythm calms the mind. A calm mind supports action. Another important idea is showing up every day. Not perfectly, not intensely, just consistently. Consistency matters more than intensity. One small action daily is stronger than a big action once. Daily effort builds identity. Identity shapes behavior. Another challenge is feeling tired or unmotivated. You may not feel like doing anything. In those moments, reduce the task. Make it easier. If you cannot do a full task, do part of it. Even a small effort counts. Progress is still progress. Another important idea is celebrating small wins. Many people ignore progress. They focus only on what is missing. This reduces motivation. Notice what you complete. Acknowledge it. This reinforces action. Reinforcement builds habit. Habit builds strength. Another helpful idea is reducing distractions. Too much noise pulls you away from action. Limit what interrupts you. Create a space for focus. Even a short focused moment helps. Focus improves quality. Quality builds confidence. Another important idea is discipline over motivation. Motivation changes. Some days you feel it. Some days you do not. Discipline continues anyway. Discipline is built through repetition. Each time you act without motivation, discipline grows. Discipline supports long-term progress. Another challenge is perfectionism. You may want to do things perfectly. This slows you down. Perfection is not needed. Completion matters more. Finish what you can. Improve later. Progress comes from action, not perfection. Another important idea is starting small to avoid overwhelm. Large goals can feel distant. Break them down. Focus on the next step. This makes progress visible. Visibility increases confidence. Another helpful idea is using time wisely. You do not need long hours. Even short periods matter. 10 minutes of focused effort is valuable. Consistency over time creates results. Another important idea is building physical movement into your day. Movement affects your mind. A short walk can clear thoughts. Simple exercise can improve mood. Your body supports your mental state. Taking care of it helps everything else. Another challenge is negative self-talk. Your mind may say you are not doing enough. It may say you are too slow. This creates pressure. Replace harsh thoughts with neutral ones. You are trying. You are moving. This reduces stress. Reduced stress supports action. Another important idea is keeping promises to yourself. If you decide to do something small, do it. This builds trust. Trust strengthens identity. Identity shapes behavior. Another helpful idea is focusing on effort, not outcome. Outcomes take time. Effort happens now. Measure your effort. This keeps you engaged. Engagement builds progress. Another important idea is building momentum slowly. Do not rush. Let actions build naturally. Momentum grows over time. Once it builds, it carries you forward. Another challenge is comparing your progress to others. This creates pressure. Your path is your own. Focus on your steps. Comparison blocks confidence. Another important idea is rest. Rest is part of progress. Without rest, you burn out. Balance action with recovery. Recovery supports consistency. Another helpful idea is tracking your actions. Not to judge, to see progress. Seeing progress motivates you. Motivation supports continuation. Another important idea is reducing decision fatigue. Too many choices create stress. Simplify your routine. Fewer decisions mean more action. Another challenge is starting after a bad day. You may feel like you lost progress. One day does not define you. Start again. Each restart builds resilience. Another important idea is staying flexible. Plans may change. Adjust without stopping. Flexibility keeps you moving. Another helpful idea is focusing on what you can do today. Not everything at once, just today. Today is manageable. Managing today builds the future. Another important idea is building a strong morning start. How you begin your day matters. A simple, calm start sets the tone. Tone influences action. Another challenge is feeling like progress is invisible. Small changes are not always noticeable. Trust the process. Results appear over time. Consistency creates visible change. Another important idea is reducing expectations. High expectations create pressure. Lower them. Focus on action. Action creates results. Another helpful idea is connecting actions to purpose. Why are you rebuilding? Keep that reason in mind. Purpose fuels action. Another important idea is building resilience through repetition. Each small action builds strength. Strength accumulates. Accumulated strength supports bigger challenges. Another challenge is boredom. Small actions may feel repetitive. Repetition is part of growth. Growth requires consistency. Consistency requires repetition. Another important idea is staying present while acting. Focus on the task, not the future. Presence improves quality. Quality builds confidence. Another helpful idea is learning from each action. Notice what works. Notice what does not. Adjust gently. Learning improves efficiency. Another important idea is staying patient. Results take time. Time builds lasting change. Another challenge is fear of failure. Small actions reduce risk. Low risk encourages action. Action reduces fear. Another important idea is building identity through action. Each action reflects who you are becoming. Act consistently. Identity forms naturally. Another helpful idea is creating a calm environment. Your surroundings affect your mind. A simple, organized space supports focus. Focus supports action. Another important idea is commitment. Commit to small actions daily. Commitment builds discipline. Discipline supports growth. Another challenge is losing direction. Return to basics. Simple actions. They guide you back. Another important idea is self-respect. Respect your effort. Effort matters. Respect builds confidence. Another helpful idea is reminding yourself that progress is happening, even if slowly. Slow progress is still progress. Another important idea is trust. Trust the process. Trust your effort. Trust your growth. Another challenge is impatience. You want results quickly. Growth takes time. Allow it. Another important idea is building a foundation. Small actions create that foundation. Without it, bigger efforts fail. With it, growth becomes stable. Another helpful idea is staying consistent even when you feel better. Do not stop when things improve. Continue. Consistency maintains progress. Another important idea is simplicity. Keep things simple. Simple actions are easier to repeat. Repetition builds strength. Another challenge is thinking too far ahead. Focus on now. Now is where action exists. Another important idea is resilience. Each day you act, you build resilience. Resilience supports long-term growth. Another helpful idea is ending your day with reflection. Notice what you did. Acknowledge it. This builds awareness. Another important idea is that rebuilding is a process, not a single moment. It happens daily, through small actions, through consistent effort, through patience. You do not need to do everything today. You only need to take one step, then another. Small steps create movement. Movement creates change, and change, over time, rebuilds your life stronger than before. Chapter 6. creating a new direction without a clear map. After everything falls apart, one question keeps returning. What do I do now? This question feels heavy. It feels urgent. You want a clear answer. You want a clear path. But most of the time, that path is not visible yet. You are standing in uncertainty. There is no full map, no perfect plan. This can feel uncomfortable. Your mind wants clarity. It wants to know where you are going. Without that, it feels lost. But this stage is important. You are not lost. You are in a space where direction is being formed. Direction does not always come before action. Sometimes it comes through action. This is a shift in thinking. You do not need to see the whole path. You only need to take the next step. The next step may feel small. That is okay. Small steps reveal more than thinking alone. Thinking can only go so far. Action shows reality. Another important idea is letting go of the need for certainty. Certainty feels safe, but waiting for full certainty often leads to waiting forever. Life rarely provides complete clarity before movement. Movement creates clarity. When you try something, you learn. You see what works. You see what does not. This feedback shapes direction. Without action, there is no feedback. Without feedback, there is no direction. Another challenge is fear of choosing the wrong path. You may worry about making mistakes. You may fear wasting time. This fear creates hesitation. Hesitation creates stillness. Stillness keeps you stuck. There is no perfect path. There is only a path you take, and you adjust along the way. Mistakes are part of direction. They show you what does not fit. They guide you closer to what does. Another important idea is exploration. You are allowed to explore. You are allowed to try new things. You are allowed to change your mind. Exploration is not failure. It is learning. Learning builds clarity. Clarity builds direction. Another helpful idea is curiosity. Instead of asking what you should do, ask what interests you, or what feels meaningful, what feels worth trying. Curiosity reduces pressure. Pressure blocks movement. Curiosity opens it. Another important idea is focusing on what you can control. You may not know your final direction, but you can choose your next action. You can choose how you spend your time. You can choose where you place your energy. These choices shape your path. Another challenge is comparing your journey to others. You may see people who seem certain, who seem ahead. This comparison creates pressure. Your path is different. Your timing is different. Focus on your steps. Comparison blocks clarity. Another important idea is building direction through values. Values guide choices, even when the path is unclear. If you value growth, you choose actions that help you grow. If you value honesty, you choose actions that align with truth. Values act like a compass. A compass does not show the whole map, but it shows direction. This is enough. Another helpful idea is taking imperfect action. You do not need perfect preparation. You do not need full confidence. Start with what you have. Adjust as you go. Adjustment is part of progress. Another important idea is staying flexible. Your direction may change. What feels right today may shift tomorrow. This is normal. Flexibility allows growth. Rigid plans break under change. Flexible plans adapt. Another challenge is overthinking. You may try to plan everything. You may analyze every option. This creates confusion. Too much thinking without action leads to mental loops. Loops create stress. Break the loop with action, even a small step. Another important idea is testing. Think of your direction as something you test, not something you decide once. You try something, you observe, you adjust. This reduces pressure. You are not committing forever. You are learning. Another helpful idea is building confidence through movement. Confidence does not come before action. It comes from action. Each step builds trust. Trust builds confidence. Another important idea is patience. Direction takes time. You may not see results immediately. That is okay. Stay consistent. Clarity grows slowly. Another challenge is feeling behind. You may feel like you are late. This thought creates urgency. Urgency creates pressure. Pressure blocks clear thinking. You are not late. You are starting from where you are. That is enough. Another important idea is focusing on progress, not speed. Slow progress is still progress. Speed is less important than direction. Moving forward matters more than moving fast. Another helpful idea is simplifying decisions. Do not try to choose the perfect option. Choose a reasonable one. Then act. You can adjust later. Another important idea is trusting the process. Even when it feels unclear, trust that movement leads somewhere. You may not see it now, but each step matters. Another challenge is fear of failure. Failure is part of exploration. Without it, there is no learning. Learning builds direction. Another important idea is listening to yourself, not just your fears, but your deeper thoughts. What feels meaningful? What feels right? This requires quiet. Quiet allows clarity. Another helpful idea is reducing noise. Too many opinions create confusion. Limit external input. Focus on your experience. Experience gives real feedback. Another important idea is building momentum. Small actions create momentum. Momentum makes the next step easier. Over time, momentum carries you. Another challenge is losing motivation. Motivation changes. Discipline continues. Show up even when you do not feel like it. Consistency builds progress. Another important idea is creating a simple plan, not a perfect one, a basic direction, 1 or 2 steps. This gives structure. Structure supports action. Another helpful idea is reflection. Look back at what you tried. What worked? What did not? Adjust accordingly. Reflection improves direction. Another important idea is staying present. Do not try to solve everything at once. Focus on today. Today shapes tomorrow. Another challenge is emotional doubt. You may feel unsure. This is normal. Doubt is part of change. Do not wait for it to disappear. Move with it. Another important idea is resilience. Each step, even uncertain, builds resilience. Resilience supports long-term growth. Another helpful idea is accepting uncertainty. Uncertainty is not failure. It is part of growth. Growth requires unknown space. Another important idea is trusting small signals. Notice what feels right. Notice what feels off. These signals guide you. Another challenge is wanting guarantees. There are no guarantees. There is only effort. Effort creates results over time. Another important idea is building direction step by step. Not all at once. Each step reveals the next. This is how paths form. Another helpful idea is staying grounded. Return to your breath. Return to your body. Grounding reduces overwhelm. Another important idea is focusing on what you can do now. Not everything, just now. Now is where action exists. Another challenge is fear of judgment. Others may question your direction. That is normal. Stay focused on your path. Another important idea is ownership. This is your life, your direction. Take responsibility for it. Responsibility builds strength. Another helpful idea is keeping things simple. Simple steps are easier to follow. Complex plans create stress. Another important idea is learning through doing. Action teaches more than thinking. Experience builds understanding. Another challenge is impatience. You may want quick clarity. Clarity takes time. Allow it. Another important idea is building trust in yourself. Trust grows through action. Each step builds it. Another helpful idea is staying open. New opportunities appear when you are open. Closed thinking blocks them. Another important idea is growth. You are growing through this process. Even if it feels unclear, growth is happening. Another challenge is staying consistent. Consistency is difficult, but it is necessary. It builds momentum. Another important idea is belief. You do not need full belief. You need willingness. Willingness to try. Another helpful idea is moving forward even when unsure. Uncertainty does not stop progress. Action continues. Another important idea is building a life step by step, not all at once. Each step matters. Each choice shapes direction. You do not need a perfect map. You need movement. Movement creates direction. Direction creates clarity. And clarity, over time, shows you where you are going, even if you could not see it at the start. Chapter 7. Rebuilding confidence when you feel broken. When everything falls apart, confidence is one of the first things you lose. You begin to doubt yourself. You question your choices. You feel unsure about what you can do. This feeling can be heavy. Before, you may have trusted yourself. You made decisions with ease. You felt capable. Now even small decisions may feel difficult. This does not mean you are weak. It means your foundation was shaken. Confidence is not permanent. It can rise, it can fall, but it can also be rebuilt. Rebuilding confidence does not start with big achievements. It starts with small trust. Trust in yourself. Trust that you can take one step. Trust that you can handle today. This is where it begins. Many people think confidence comes from success. They believe they need results first. But confidence often comes before results. It comes from action. Even small action. Each action sends a message to your mind. The message is simple. You are capable. You can move forward. This message grows stronger with repetition. Another important idea is separating confidence from feeling. You may not feel confident, but you can still act. Action does not require a confident feeling. It requires willingness. When you act despite doubt, something changes. You build evidence that you can do things. This evidence becomes confidence. Another challenge is negative self-talk. After loss, your inner voice may become harsh. It may say you failed. It may say you are not good enough. These thoughts feel real, but they are reactions. They are not facts. You can observe them without accepting them. Observation creates distance. Distance reduces their power. Another important idea is replacing harsh thoughts with supportive ones. Not fake positivity, just balanced thinking. You can say, I am learning. You can say, I am improving. These thoughts support growth. Growth builds confidence. Another helpful idea is focusing on what you can do, not what you lost. Loss pulls your attention backward. Action pulls it forward. Forward focus builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Another important idea is keeping promises to yourself. If you say you will do something small, do it. This builds trust. Trust strengthens confidence. Confidence grows from trust. Another challenge is fear of failure. After things fall apart, you may fear failing again. This fear creates hesitation. Hesitation slows progress. Progress reduces fear. To reduce fear, take small risks. Low-risk actions feel safer. As you succeed in small ways, fear reduces. Another important idea is allowing mistakes. Mistakes are part of rebuilding. You will not get everything right. That is okay. Each mistake teaches you something. Learning builds skill. Skill builds confidence. Another helpful idea is tracking your progress. Notice what you are doing. Notice improvements, even small ones. This gives you evidence. Evidence strengthens belief. Another important idea is patience. Confidence does not return overnight. It builds slowly. Through repeated action, allow this process. Another challenge is comparing yourself to others. Comparison weakens confidence. You may feel behind, but your journey is unique. Focus on your progress, not someone else's. Another important idea is building confidence through discipline. Discipline means showing up regularly, even when you do not feel like it. This consistency builds strength. Strength supports confidence. Another helpful idea is physical care. Your body affects your mind. Sleep well. Eat properly. Move your body. These actions support mental strength. Mental strength supports confidence. Another important idea is environment. Your surroundings influence you. Choose environments that support growth. Even small changes help. Another challenge is waiting for confidence before acting. This keeps you stuck. Act first. Confidence follows. Another important idea is celebrating effort. Do not wait for big results. Acknowledge your effort. Effort matters. It builds progress. Another helpful idea is reducing pressure. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to improve. Improvement builds confidence. Another important idea is building a routine. Routine creates stability. Stability supports action. Action builds confidence. Another challenge is doubt returning. Doubt will come back. This is normal. Do not let it stop you. Move with it. Each time you act despite doubt, you grow stronger. Another important idea is resilience. You have already faced difficulty. That means you are stronger than before. Recognize this. Recognition builds confidence. Another helpful idea is focusing on solutions. Problems create stress. Solutions create action. Action builds confidence. Another important idea is setting small goals. Small goals are achievable. Achievement builds confidence. Another challenge is emotional setbacks. Some days you will feel low. This is part of the process. Do not stop. Continue gently. Another important idea is self-respect. Treat yourself with respect. Respect your effort. Respect your progress. Self-respect strengthens confidence. Another helpful idea is learning from experience. Each action teaches you something. Learning builds understanding. Understanding builds confidence. Another important idea is staying present. Do not worry about the future too much. Focus on today. Today builds tomorrow. Another challenge is perfectionism. You may want to do everything perfectly. This slows you down. Progress matters more. Another important idea is building belief through action. Belief is not created by thinking. It is created by doing. Each action builds belief. Another helpful idea is reducing negative input. Too much negativity affects your mind. Limit what you consume. Focus on what supports you. Another important idea is consistency. Show up daily, even in small ways. Consistency builds strength. Strength builds confidence. Another challenge is losing motivation. Motivation changes. Discipline continues. Stay consistent. Another important idea is trusting yourself. Trust builds through action. Each step builds it. Another helpful idea is focusing on growth. You are growing, even if it feels slow. Growth builds confidence. Another important idea is staying patient. Confidence takes time. Allow it to build. Another challenge is fear of judgment. Others may judge. That is normal. Do not let it stop you. Focus on your path. Another important idea is taking responsibility. You control your actions. This builds power. Power builds confidence. Another helpful idea is staying grounded. Return to your breath. Stay present. This reduces stress. Another important idea is building identity through action. Each action shapes who you are becoming. Act consistently. Identity builds confidence. Another challenge is setbacks. You may fall. Stand up again. Each recovery builds strength. Another important idea is commitment. Commit to your growth, even when it feels hard. Commitment builds confidence. Another helpful idea is recognizing progress. You are not where you started. You have moved. Acknowledge it. Another important idea is believing in possibility. Things can improve. You can grow. This belief supports action. Another challenge is impatience. You want results quickly. Growth takes time. Allow it. Another important idea is building confidence step by step, not all at once. Each step matters. Each action builds strength. You may feel broken now, but broken does not mean finished. It means rebuilding has begun. Confidence is not something you lost forever. It is something you are rebuilding through action, through patience, through effort, step by step. Day by day, and with time, you will feel it again. Not the same as before, stronger, because this time it is built on experience, on resilience, on growth, and it will stay with you. Chapter 8. Turning pain into purpose. Pain changes you. It slows you down. It makes you question everything. At first, it feels like something to escape, something to hide from, something you wish never happened. But pain also carries something deeper. It carries meaning, not in the moment, not when it first hits. But over time, pain can become direction. This does not mean your pain was necessary. It does not mean it was fair. It means you can choose what to do with it. You can let it break you, or you can let it shape you. This choice is not easy. It takes awareness. It takes patience. But it is possible. The first step is understanding your pain, not avoiding it, not ignoring it, understanding it. Ask yourself what hurt the most. Was it loss? Was it rejection? Was it failure? Each type of pain carries a message, not a lesson forced on you. but something you can learn from. Learning does not remove pain, but it gives it direction. Direction reduces confusion. Another important idea is that pain shows what matters. You do not feel deeply about things that do not matter to you. Pain reveals your values. It shows what you cared about. This awareness is powerful. It tells you what is important moving forward. Another challenge is feeling like your pain is meaningless. It may feel like nothing good can come from it. This is normal. Meaning is not immediate. It develops slowly, as you reflect, as you grow. Meaning appears. Another important idea is reframing your experience, not in a forced way, not pretending it was good, but asking a different question. What can I take from this? What can this teach me? This question shifts your focus from loss to growth. Growth builds strength. Another helpful idea is using pain as fuel. Pain creates energy, strong emotion. You can direct that energy into action, into growth, into rebuilding. Without direction, pain feels heavy. With direction, it becomes strength. Another important idea is helping others. When you go through something difficult, you understand it deeply. You can relate to others. You can support them. This creates purpose. Purpose gives meaning to your experience. Another challenge is staying stuck in the past. You may replay what happened. This keeps pain active. Turning pain into purpose requires movement, forward movement, not forgetting, but moving. Another important idea is self-awareness. Pain increases awareness. You see yourself more clearly, your patterns, your reactions. This awareness is valuable. It helps you grow. Another helpful idea is writing your experience. Put your thoughts into words. This creates clarity. Clarity helps you understand your journey. Understanding builds meaning. Another important idea is acceptance. You cannot change what happened, but you can change what it becomes. Acceptance allows transformation. Transformation creates purpose. Another challenge is anger. You may feel angry about what happened. Anger is natural, but holding on to it for too long creates weight. Release anger gradually. This frees energy. Energy can be used for growth. Another important idea is resilience. Pain tests your strength. Each time you face it, you become stronger. This strength can guide your future. Another helpful idea is focusing on what you gained. Even in loss, something changes. You may gain awareness. You may gain strength. Recognizing this shifts perspective. Another important idea is patience. Purpose does not appear instantly. It develops. Allow it to form. Another challenge is comparing your pain to others. Everyone's experience is different. Your pain is valid. Do not measure it. Focus on your process. Another important idea is growth mindset. See pain as part of growth, not as the end. Growth builds purpose. Another helpful idea is small actions. You do not need a big purpose immediately. Start small. Help someone. Learn something. Improve yourself. These actions build direction. Another important idea is letting pain change you, not into someone bitter, but into someone stronger, someone more aware, someone more compassionate. Another challenge is fear of feeling pain again. You may avoid new experiences. This limits growth. Growth requires openness. Openness includes risk. Another important idea is courage. It takes courage to face pain. It takes courage to move forward. Each step builds courage. Courage builds purpose. Another helpful idea is connecting your experience to something bigger. Your story matters. It can inspire. It can guide. This creates meaning. Another important idea is focusing on the present. Purpose is built now, not in the past. What you do today matters. Another challenge is feeling lost. You may not see your purpose yet. This is normal. Keep moving. Clarity will come. Another important idea is trust. Trust that your experience can lead somewhere, even if you do not see it now. Another helpful idea is learning from mistakes. Mistakes are part of pain. Learning from them creates growth. Growth builds purpose. Another important idea is building something new. Pain often clears space. You can build again, with more awareness, with more strength. Another challenge is holding on to identity tied to pain. You may define yourself by what happened. Release this. You are more than your pain. Another important idea is transformation. Pain can transform you, not by force, but by choice. Your choice. Another helpful idea is gratitude, not for the pain, but for your ability to grow. This shifts your mindset. Another important idea is consistency. Keep moving forward, even slowly. Consistency builds purpose. Another challenge is giving up. Pain can make you feel like stopping. Do not stop. Rest if needed, but continue. Another important idea is believing in change. Things can improve. You can grow. This belief supports action. Another helpful idea is reflection. Look at how far you have come. Notice your strength. This builds confidence. Another important idea is compassion. Be kind to yourself. You are learning. Kindness supports growth. Another challenge is uncertainty. You may not know where this leads. That is okay. Keep moving. Another important idea is building meaning through action. Purpose is not found. It is built through what you do, through how you respond. Another helpful idea is helping your future self. What you do now shapes your future. Act with that in mind. Another important idea is staying grounded. Return to your breath. Stay present. This reduces overwhelm. Another challenge is impatience. You want answers quickly. Allow time. Purpose takes time. Another important idea is growth through difficulty. Difficult moments shape you. They build strength. Strength supports purpose. Another helpful idea is staying open. New opportunities can come. Be ready to see them. Another important idea is building a new story. Your past is part of your story, not the whole story. You are writing the next part. Another challenge is fear of change. Change can feel uncomfortable, but it creates growth. Another important idea is moving forward with intention. Choose how you respond. Your response shapes your future. Another helpful idea is staying consistent. Keep taking steps, even small ones. Consistency builds direction. Another important idea is belief in yourself. You can grow. You can rebuild. This belief supports action. Another challenge is doubt. Doubt will appear. Do not let it stop you. Move with it. Another important idea is resilience. You have already endured pain. That means you are strong. Another helpful idea is purpose in helping others. Your experience can support someone else. This creates meaning. Another important idea is turning pain into strength, not by ignoring it, but by using it. Another challenge is holding on to fear. Fear limits growth. Release it slowly. Another important idea is moving forward with hope, not forced hope. Quiet hope that things can improve. Another helpful idea is building your future step by step. You do not need everything now, just the next step. Another important idea is growth. You are growing, even now, even in pain. This growth is shaping your purpose. Turning pain into purpose is not instant. It is a process, a slow transformation from hurt to strength. From confusion to clarity, from loss to direction. You may not see it fully yet, but it is happening. Each step you take, each lesson you learn, you are building something, not just recovery, but purpose. And that purpose will guide you forward. Chapter 9. Building a strong mind that does not break easily. When everything falls apart, your mind takes the hardest hit. Thoughts become heavy. Doubt becomes loud. Fear feels constant. In these moments, mental strength matters more than anything else. Not the kind of strength that hides pain. Not the kind that pretends everything is fine. Real strength is quiet. It is steady. It allows you to feel and still move forward. A strong mind does not avoid difficulty. It learns how to face it. This kind of strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build, step by step. The first step is awareness. You begin by noticing your thoughts. Not every thought is true. Some are reactions, some are fear. When you treat every thought as fact, your mind feels heavy. When you observe thoughts, you create space. In that space, you have choice. You can choose which thoughts to follow. This is powerful. Another important idea is controlling your focus. Your mind goes where your attention goes. If you focus on problems, your mind feels overwhelmed. If you focus on actions, your mind feels clearer. You cannot remove all problems, but you can choose where to place your attention. This changes your experience. Another challenge is negative thinking patterns. Your mind may repeat the same thoughts. What if I fail? What if things get worse? These thoughts create anxiety. You can interrupt this pattern, not by forcing positivity, but by redirecting attention. Ask yourself what you can do now. This brings you back to action. Action reduces anxiety. Another important idea is emotional regulation. You will feel strong emotions: sadness, anger, fear. A strong mind does not suppress these. It manages them. You allow yourself to feel, but you do not let emotions control your actions. You pause, you breathe, you respond calmly. This builds strength. Another helpful idea is building mental discipline. Discipline is not about force. It is about consistency. You train your mind daily through small habits: focus, awareness, action. These habits build control. Control builds confidence. Another important idea is resilience. Resilience means you recover, not that you never fall, but that you rise again. Each time you recover, your mind becomes stronger. This strength builds over time. Another challenge is overthinking. Your mind may try to solve everything at once. This creates stress. Break it down. Focus on one thing, one step. This reduces pressure. Another important idea is staying present. The past creates regret. The future creates anxiety. The present is manageable. Bring your attention here. This calms your mind. Another helpful idea is limiting negative input. What you consume affects your mind. Too much negativity increases stress. Choose what supports you. This improves mental clarity. Another important idea is building positive habits. Habits shape your thinking. Daily routines create structure. Structure supports stability. Stability strengthens the mind. Another challenge is self-doubt. You may question yourself. This is normal. Do not let it stop you. Move with doubt. Each action reduces it. Another important idea is self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters. Harsh words weaken you. Supportive words strengthen you. Speak to yourself with respect. This builds confidence. Another helpful idea is physical care. Your body and mind are connected. Sleep well. Eat properly. Move your body. This supports mental strength. Another important idea is patience. Mental strength takes time. It builds through repetition. Allow this process. Another challenge is setbacks. Some days will feel harder. This does not mean you lost progress. Continue. Each day adds strength. Another important idea is focus on effort. Do what you can. Effort matters. It builds progress. Another helpful idea is reflection. Look at your thoughts. Notice patterns. Awareness improves control. Another important idea is letting go of control over everything. You cannot control everything. Focus on what you can. This reduces stress. Another challenge is fear. Fear will appear. Do not fight it. Move with it. Action reduces fear. Another important idea is belief. Believe that you can grow. This belief supports action. Another helpful idea is learning. Each experience teaches you. Learning builds understanding. Understanding builds strength. Another important idea is consistency. Show up daily, even in small ways. Consistency builds discipline. Discipline builds strength. Another challenge is comparison. Comparing yourself weakens your mind. Focus on your path. Another important idea is gratitude. Notice what you have. This shifts your mindset. Another helpful idea is grounding. Return to your breath. Stay present. This reduces overwhelm. Another important idea is controlling reactions. You cannot control everything, but you can control how you respond. This builds power. Another challenge is negative environments. Limit exposure to what drains you. Choose supportive environments. Another important idea is purpose. Purpose gives direction. Direction strengthens the mind. Another helpful idea is small wins. Acknowledge progress. This builds confidence. Another important idea is staying calm under pressure. Slow down, breathe, respond. Calm builds strength. Another challenge is impatience. You want quick change. Mental strength takes time. Allow it. Another important idea is resilience through action. Each action builds strength. Strength builds confidence. Another helpful idea is self-respect. Respect your effort. This strengthens your mind. Another important idea is adaptability. Adjust when needed. Flexibility supports growth. Another challenge is doubt returning. Doubt will come. Move with it. Another important idea is discipline over mood. Do what matters, even when you do not feel like it. Another helpful idea is staying focused. Avoid distractions. Focus improves results. Another important idea is growth. You are growing, even now, even in difficulty. Another challenge is fear of failure. Failure is part of growth. Learn from it. Another important idea is building a strong foundation. Daily habits create that foundation. Another helpful idea is trusting yourself. Trust builds through action. Another important idea is staying present again. Now is what matters. Another challenge is mental fatigue. Rest when needed. Recovery supports strength. Another important idea is balance. Work and rest. This keeps you stable. Another helpful idea is commitment. Commit to your growth. Another important idea is belief in your ability to change. You can grow. You can become stronger. Another challenge is losing motivation. Continue anyway. Consistency matters. Another important idea is building strength step by step. Not all at once. Each step counts. A strong mind is not built in one moment. It is built daily, through awareness, through action, through patience. You may feel broken now, but your mind is rebuilding, stronger, more aware, more resilient, and with time, it will not break easily, because it has learned how to stand, even in difficulty. Chapter 10: Protecting Your Energy and Choosing What You Allow into Your Life. After everything falls apart, your energy becomes limited. You may feel tired, mentally drained, emotionally heavy. Things that once felt easy now take effort. This is why protecting your energy becomes important. Energy is not just physical. It is mental. It is emotional. Where you place your energy shapes how you feel. If your energy is scattered, you feel overwhelmed. If your energy is protected, you feel stable. Many people ignore this. They try to do everything. They give attention to everything. They respond to everyone. This drains them. Rebuilding requires focus. Focus requires energy. Energy requires protection. The first step is awareness. Notice what drains you. Notice what leaves you feeling tired, what increases stress, what brings negativity. These are signals. Your body and mind are telling you something. Listen to them. Another important idea is setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are limits. They protect your time. They protect your energy. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to step back. This is not selfish. It is necessary. Without boundaries, your energy spreads too thin. When your energy is thin, you cannot rebuild effectively. Another challenge is feeling guilty for setting limits. You may think you are disappointing others. You may feel like you should always be available. But constant availability leads to exhaustion. Exhaustion slows growth. Protecting your energy helps you show up better. Another important idea is choosing your environment. Your surroundings affect your mindset. If you are around constant negativity, it affects you. If you are around calm and focus, it supports you. You may not control everything around you, but you can make small adjustments. Choose what you listen to. Choose what you watch. Choose who you spend time with. These choices matter. Another helpful idea is limiting unnecessary input. Too much information creates noise. Noise creates confusion. Confusion drains energy. Simplify what you consume. Focus on what supports your growth. Another important idea is protecting your mental space. Not every thought deserves your attention. Some thoughts repeat without purpose. You can observe them. You do not need to follow them. This protects your mental energy. Another challenge is overcommitment. You may take on too much. Trying to do everything leads to burnout. Choose fewer things. Focus on what matters. Quality over quantity. Another important idea is rest. Rest is not weakness. It is recovery. Without rest, energy cannot return. Take time to recharge. This supports long-term growth. Another helpful idea is creating a calm routine. Routine reduces decision fatigue. Fewer decisions mean less mental strain. This preserves energy. Another important idea is emotional boundaries. Not every emotion from others is yours to carry. You can care without absorbing everything. This protects your emotional state. Another challenge is trying to fix everything. You may feel responsible for others. This drains you. Focus on what you can control. Release what you cannot. Another important idea is choosing where you invest your attention. Attention is valuable. Where you place it matters. Place it on growth, on action, on healing. This builds strength. Another helpful idea is reducing exposure to negativity. Negative conversations, negative content. Limit them. They affect your mind. Protecting your input protects your output. Another important idea is self-respect. Respect your limits. Do not push beyond what you can handle. This builds stability. Another challenge is saying yes too often. You may want to please others. This can drain you. Say yes when it aligns with your needs. Say no when it does not. Balance matters. Another important idea is prioritizing your time. Time is limited. Use it wisely. Focus on what helps you rebuild. Another helpful idea is creating space for yourself. Moments of quiet, moments of reflection. This restores energy. Another important idea is avoiding unnecessary stress. Some stress cannot be avoided, but some can. Reduce what you can. This supports recovery. Another challenge is feeling overwhelmed. Too many tasks, too many thoughts. Simplify. Break things down. Focus on one thing. This reduces pressure. Another important idea is protecting your focus. Distractions drain energy. Limit them. Stay present. This improves efficiency. Another helpful idea is choosing meaningful activities. Do things that support growth, not just distraction. This builds purpose. Another important idea is understanding your limits. Know when to stop. Know when to rest. This prevents burnout. Another challenge is ignoring your needs. You may focus on others. Do not forget yourself. Your needs matter. Meeting them supports growth. Another important idea is emotional awareness. Notice how you feel. Do not ignore it. This helps you adjust. Another helpful idea is grounding. Return to your breath. Stay present. This calms your mind. Another important idea is consistency. Protect your energy daily, not just occasionally. This builds stability. Another challenge is external pressure. Others may expect more from you. Set your own pace. You know what you can handle. Another important idea is clarity. Know what matters to you. Focus on it. This reduces wasted energy. Another helpful idea is creating healthy habits. Habits support energy. Good sleep, movement, nutrition. These build strength. Another important idea is reducing multitasking. Doing too many things at once drains energy. Focus on one task. Complete it. Move to the next. Another challenge is mental clutter. Too many thoughts. Write them down. Clear your mind. This improves focus. Another important idea is choosing calm over chaos. Avoid unnecessary drama. Choose peace. Peace supports growth. Another helpful idea is setting priorities. Not everything is urgent. Choose what matters. This reduces stress. Another important idea is respecting your pace. Do not rush. Move steadily. Steady progress is sustainable. Another challenge is comparison. Comparing drains energy. Focus on yourself. Your path is yours. Another important idea is building inner stability. When your mind is stable, external noise affects you less. Stability comes from routine and awareness. Another helpful idea is limiting digital overload. Too much screen time drains you. Take breaks. This restores energy. Another important idea is protecting your emotional health. Avoid constant negativity. Choose uplifting input. This supports your mindset. Another challenge is feeling obligated. You may feel you have to do everything. You do not. Choose wisely. Another important idea is staying aligned with your goals. Focus on what helps you rebuild. Ignore what does not. Another helpful idea is self-care, not as a luxury, as a necessity. Take care of yourself. This supports everything else. Another important idea is awareness of energy flow. Notice when you feel drained. Notice when you feel energized. Adjust accordingly. Another challenge is ignoring warning signs. Fatigue, stress, irritation. These signals matter. Listen to them. Another important idea is balance. Work and rest. Action and recovery. Balance sustains energy. Another helpful idea is simplifying your life. Remove what is unnecessary. Focus on what matters. Another important idea is protecting your time. Time is energy. Use it wisely. Another challenge is emotional overload. Take breaks. Process slowly. This reduces pressure. Another important idea is staying grounded. Return to the present. This calms your system. Another helpful idea is choosing supportive people. Surround yourself with those who respect your growth. This strengthens you. Another important idea is awareness again. Stay aware of how you feel. Adjust your actions. Another challenge is burnout. Prevent it by managing energy. Do not wait until you are exhausted. Another important idea is sustainability. Build habits you can maintain. This creates long-term progress. Another helpful idea is patience. Energy rebuilds slowly. Allow it. Another important idea is self-trust. Trust your limits. Trust your needs. This builds confidence. Another challenge is ignoring rest. Rest is part of growth. Do not skip it. Another important idea is protecting your peace. Peace supports clarity. Clarity supports action. Another helpful idea is focusing on what matters. Not everything deserves your attention. Choose carefully. Another important idea is discipline. Protect your energy consistently. This builds strength. Another challenge is distractions. Limit them. Stay focused. Another important idea is building a strong foundation. Energy supports everything. Protect it. Another helpful idea is awareness of your habits. Habits shape energy. Choose them wisely. Another important idea is growth. You are rebuilding. Energy supports this process. Another challenge is impatience. Allow time. Energy returns gradually. Another important idea is balance again. Do not push too hard. Do not stop completely. Find the middle. Another helpful idea is self-respect. Respect your limits. This builds stability. Another important idea is choosing what you allow into your life. Not everything deserves space. Choose carefully, because what you allow shapes your experience. And protecting your energy is one of the most important parts of rebuilding. It keeps you steady. It keeps you focused. It keeps you moving forward. Chapter 11. Letting go of the past without losing yourself. The past can feel heavy. It holds memories, moments you wish were different, choices you wish you could change. After everything falls apart, the past becomes louder. You replay events. You think about what you could have done. You imagine different outcomes. This is natural. Your mind is trying to understand. But staying in the past for too long keeps you stuck. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean your experiences did not matter. It means you stop living there. You begin to live here, in the present. This is where change happens. Another important idea is understanding why the past feels so strong. It is familiar. Even if it was painful, it is known. The present feels uncertain. The future feels unclear. So your mind returns to what it knows. But familiarity is not always helpful. Growth requires moving forward. Another challenge is regret. You may think about what you should have done. You may feel like you made mistakes. Regret can feel heavy. But regret has a purpose. It shows awareness. It shows that you have learned. Learning is valuable. Once you learn, holding on to regret is no longer needed. You can release it. Another important idea is separating lessons from pain. You can keep the lesson. You do not need to keep the suffering. Many people hold on to both. This creates unnecessary weight. Take what you learned. Leave what hurts. This creates lightness. Another helpful idea is forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It is not about saying what happened was okay. It is about freeing yourself. You may need to forgive others. You may need to forgive yourself. Holding on to anger keeps you tied to the past. Releasing it creates space. Space allows growth. Another important idea is accepting that you cannot change the past. No amount of thinking will change what happened. This can feel frustrating, but it also brings relief. You do not need to fix the past. You need to move forward. Another challenge is identity tied to the past. You may define yourself by what happened, by mistakes, by loss. This limits you. You are not your past. You are who you are becoming. Letting go allows you to grow. Another important idea is being present. The present moment is where your life is happening, not in memories, not in imagined scenarios. Now. Return to now. This reduces the pull of the past. Another helpful idea is awareness of thought patterns. Notice when your mind returns to the past. Do not judge it. Gently bring your focus back. This is a practice. Over time, it becomes easier. Another important idea is releasing control over what has already happened. Control belongs to the present, not the past. Letting go of control reduces stress. Another challenge is emotional attachment. Memories carry emotion. This makes them feel alive. Allow yourself to feel, but do not stay there. Let the emotion move. Movement creates release. Another important idea is creating new experiences. New experiences shift your focus. They give you something new to build. They reduce attachment to old patterns. Another helpful idea is journaling. Write about your past. Express what you feel. This creates clarity. Clarity supports release. Another important idea is understanding that holding on to the past does not protect you. It keeps you stuck. Release creates movement. Movement creates growth. Another challenge is fear of forgetting. You may think letting go means losing important memories. You will not forget what matters. You will simply carry it differently, without pain. Another important idea is self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. You did what you could with what you knew. This reduces harsh judgment. Another helpful idea is focusing on what you can do now. Now is where action exists. Action builds your future. Another important idea is building a new story. Your past is part of your story, not the whole story. You are writing the next part. This gives you power. Another challenge is comparison with your past self. You may feel like you were better before. You are different now, not worse. Different. Growth changes you. Another important idea is acceptance. Accept what happened. Not because you like it, but because it is real. Acceptance allows release. Another helpful idea is letting go step by step. You do not need to release everything at once. Start small. Release one thought, one memory. Gradually it becomes easier. Another important idea is focusing on growth. What did you learn? How did you change? Growth builds confidence. Another challenge is emotional triggers. Certain things remind you of the past. Notice them. Do not avoid everything, but be aware. Awareness gives you control. Another important idea is grounding. Return to your breath. Stay present. This reduces emotional intensity. Another helpful idea is limiting rumination. Do not replay events endlessly. Set a boundary. Think about it briefly, then move on. This protects your energy. Another important idea is trust. Trust that you can move forward. Trust that you can grow. This supports change. Another challenge is holding on to pain as identity. You may feel connected to your pain. Let it go. You are more than your experiences. Another important idea is focusing on your future. What do you want to build? This shifts your focus forward. Forward focus creates movement. Another helpful idea is gratitude. Notice what you have now. This reduces attachment to what was lost. Another important idea is acceptance of imperfection. The past is not perfect. Neither is the present. That is part of life. Another challenge is fear of repeating the past. You may worry about making the same mistakes. Use your lessons. They guide you. Another important idea is learning. Learning from the past is valuable. Holding on to it is not. Another helpful idea is staying patient. Letting go takes time. Allow it. Another important idea is building new habits. Habits shape your future. Focus on them. Another challenge is emotional resistance. You may resist letting go. This is normal. Do not force it. Allow it to happen gradually. Another important idea is awareness again. Notice your thoughts. Notice your reactions. This gives you control. Another helpful idea is creating distance. Give yourself space from what triggers you. This helps you heal. Another important idea is moving forward with intention. Choose your actions. Your choices shape your life. Another challenge is guilt. You may feel guilty for moving on. Moving on does not mean you did not care. It means you are choosing to live. Another important idea is freedom. Letting go creates freedom. Freedom allows growth. Another helpful idea is focusing on your values. Live according to what matters to you. This builds identity. Another important idea is resilience. You have already endured. You can move forward. Another challenge is doubt. Doubt will appear. Move with it. Do not stop. Another important idea is consistency. Keep taking steps forward, even small ones. Another helpful idea is self-respect. Respect your process. This builds confidence. Another important idea is belief. Believe in your ability to grow. This supports action. Another challenge is impatience. You want to move on quickly. Allow time. Healing takes time. Another important idea is acceptance of change. Life changes. You change. This is natural. Another helpful idea is focusing on now again. Now is where your life is. Stay here. Another important idea is growth. You are growing, even through this. Another challenge is letting go of control. You cannot control what happened. You can control what you do now. Another important idea is building your future, step by step, action by action. Another helpful idea is reflection. Notice your progress. This builds confidence. Another important idea is moving forward, not perfectly, but steadily. Letting go of the past is not easy, but it is necessary, not to erase who you were, but to allow who you are becoming. You carry your experiences, but they do not carry you. You move forward, lighter, clearer, stronger, ready to build what comes next. Chapter 12. Starting again with strength and clarity. There comes a quiet moment after the chaos. Not everything is fixed. Not everything is clear. But something inside you feels different. You are still standing, not the same as before, but not broken either. Changed. This is where starting again begins. Not from the outside, but from within. Starting again does not mean going back. It does not mean rebuilding the same life. It means moving forward with what you have learned, with more awareness, with more strength, with more clarity. At the beginning of this journey, everything felt uncertain. You felt lost. You felt overwhelmed. Now, even if things are not perfect, you understand more. You understand your emotions better. You understand your thoughts. You understand your limits. This understanding is strength. It is quiet, but it is real. Another important idea is recognizing how far you have come. You may not see it clearly, but you have changed. You faced your pain. You stayed present. You took small steps. These are not small things. They are the foundation of your growth. Growth often feels invisible while it is happening, but it shows in how you respond. You are calmer. You are more aware. You are more intentional. This is progress. Another challenge is expecting everything to be perfect now. It will not be. Life will still have challenges. There will still be uncertainty. But now you are different. You have tools. You have experience. You know how to handle difficulty better. This is what rebuilding gives you. Another important idea is trusting yourself again. At one point, you may have doubted everything. Now, you begin to trust again. Not blindly, but through experience. You trust that you can face problems. You trust that you can recover. This trust is powerful. Another helpful idea is moving forward with intention. You are no longer reacting to life. You are choosing how to live. Small choices matter. How you spend your time, how you treat yourself, how you respond to others. These choices shape your future. Another important idea is staying grounded. Even as you move forward, stay connected to the present. Do not rush too far ahead. Do not carry too much from the past. Stay here. This is where your life is happening. Another challenge is fear returning. Fear may come back. This is normal. You do not need to eliminate fear. You need to move with it. You have done this before. You can do it again. Another important idea is balance. Balance between action and rest, between growth and patience. Do not push too hard. Do not stop completely. Find your pace. Your pace is what keeps you moving. Another helpful idea is continuing small habits. The habits you built matter. They support your stability. They keep you grounded. Do not abandon them. Consistency keeps you strong. Another important idea is protecting your peace. You have learned how valuable your energy is. Continue to protect it. Choose what you allow into your life. This shapes your experience. Another challenge is comparison. You may compare your new beginning to others. Do not. Your journey is your own. Focus on your path. Another important idea is purpose. You may not have a clear purpose yet. That is okay. Purpose grows over time, through action, through experience. You do not need to find it immediately. You are building it. Another helpful idea is staying open. New opportunities will come. Be ready to see them. Do not close yourself off. Openness creates possibility. Another important idea is self-respect. You have gone through something difficult. Respect yourself for that. Treat yourself with care. This strengthens your foundation. Another challenge is impatience. You may want everything to improve quickly. Growth takes time. Allow it. Another important idea is resilience. You are stronger now. Not because things are easy, but because you have faced difficulty. This strength stays with you. Another helpful idea is reflection. Look back at where you started. Notice the difference. This builds confidence. Another important idea is moving forward step by step. You do not need to solve everything. You only need to take the next step. Then another. This is how life moves. Another challenge is doubt. Doubt may appear. Do not let it stop you. Move anyway. Another important idea is belief. Believe that you can continue. You have already proven it. Another helpful idea is focusing on what matters. Not everything deserves your attention. Choose what is important. This keeps you focused. Another important idea is simplicity. Keep your life simple. Simple actions, simple routines. This reduces stress. Another challenge is holding on to old fears. Release them gradually. You are not the same person anymore. Another important idea is growth. You are still growing. This process does not stop. Each day adds something. Another helpful idea is gratitude. Be grateful for your strength, not for the pain, but for your ability to rise. Another important idea is clarity. You may not know everything, but you know enough to move forward. That is enough. Another challenge is trying to control everything again. Remember what you learned. Control what you can. Release what you cannot. Another important idea is staying present again. Return to now. This keeps you grounded. Another helpful idea is trusting the process. Life unfolds step by step. You do not need to see everything. Another important idea is commitment. Stay committed to your growth, even when it feels slow. Another challenge is losing focus. Return to your habits. Return to your routine. This brings you back. Another important idea is identity. You are not who you were before. You are someone new, stronger, more aware, more grounded. This identity will continue to grow. Another helpful idea is patience with yourself. You are still learning. Allow mistakes. Learn and continue. Another important idea is freedom. You are no longer stuck in the past. You are moving forward. This is freedom. Another challenge is fear of the future. The future is unknown, but you are prepared. You have learned. You have grown. Another important idea is trust again. Trust yourself. Trust your ability to adapt. Another helpful idea is staying consistent. Consistency builds your life. Small actions matter. Another important idea is resilience again. You will face challenges, but you will not break the same way. You will bend, you will adjust, you will continue. Another challenge is forgetting your progress. Remind yourself, you have come far. Another important idea is moving forward with calm, not rushing, not forcing, just steady movement. Another helpful idea is focusing on your next step, not the whole path, just the next step. Another important idea is building your life again, with intention, with awareness, with strength. This time, it will be different. Because you are different, you have faced difficulty, you have learned, you have grown, and now you are starting again. Not from zero, but from experience, from resilience, from strength, and that makes all the difference.